There have been many visible casualties of the Brexit process to date in the United Kingdom. Faith in the established political parties and institutions, the very notion of what constitutes the truth and the composition of the UK itself, have all been subject to forensic questioning and careful scrutiny by those who sincerely care about what kind of country they wish to live in. Until now, many would have believed that the BBC would have a valuable and impartial role to play in the shaping of our country's future, despite previous doubts regarding their alleged bias in the Scottish independence referendum in 2014 and in their defence of successive Conservative government policies. The most recent evidence would suggest that any pretense at fairness and even-handedness has now been dispensed with following the doctoring of the Prime Minister's abject performance on the Question Time special last Friday and the altering of his cenotaph footage to present him with a more respectable and media-friendly image. This and the consistently fawning, government-friendly conduct of chief political reporter Laura Queensberg demonstrates that the BBC, in current affairs, has abandoned all pretense at impartiality and presents simply as an arm of the Conservative government, a state-sponsored instrument of propaganda. Sadly, BBC Scotland is similarly afflicted by a need to attack our devolved assembly at the expense of a fair representation of the facts, Gary Robertson's recent witch hunt of Jeane Freeman, the Health Secretary, being one current example of this. The BBC is no longer fit for purpose. As an organisation dependent on the taxpayer, it has failed to represent large swathes of the country who now deride it as unrepresentative. Its upper echelons are selected to support an increasingly far right-wing state's agenda and adopt a bread and circuses approach to national broadcasting. The BBC must reform or lose its institutional privileged and favoured position. The clock is ticking. Owen Kelly, Stirling. Whilst there are numerous things to consider in deciding which political party to vote for in the forthcoming election, the choice can be narrowed down by a process of elimination. Those not wishing in daft too can rule out the SNP and the Green Party. As Labour cannot be trusted not to give in to the SNP and offer it an independence referendum, this would also rule it out. This leaves the Conservatives, the Liberal Democrats and the Brexit Party. Those also wishing to leave the EU can then rule out the Liberal Democrats. This would then leave the Conservatives and the Brexit Party. Whilst either would fit the bill so far, the best option is not to split the vote. Therefore, assuming that the Conservatives have the greater chance, as far as I am concerned the decision is made. I accept that they have not been the most. For more on this story, visit the news article link.